It's time to sit back and check out the RCWR show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your host, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey, what's going on, kind people? Lee Sanders back with you all. New episode of the RCWR show for this Monday night of December 15th, 2025. Got an exclusive poll up on the Twitter at the RCWR show. Wanted to know what you guys had thought about tonight's Raw edition coming to us from PA. Great crowd overall, fresh off of what went down over the weekend with Saturday night's main event as John Cena had his final match. I know that's going to be talked about for years to come. Not just in regards to that final match against Gunther, but also the overall final tour, the final year of John Cena. I mean, sure, for WWE, the limited dates that they had Cena, it was a success. They pretty much sold out everywhere and everything. I know here in DC with what WWE did with Saturday night's main event, it had broke a whole lot of records, especially when it came to the money. They brought in so much money, and rightfully so. I mean, with the amount they were charging folks to see freaking John Cena, just insane. Some really good developments happened on tonight's show, contrary to what Triple H might have been putting out there leading up to this episode, saying, oh, it's a new era in the WWE. Tonight is the start of a new era. I don't know about a new era. I'm not so sure. I would say tonight was the beginning of a new era, but I would definitely say we made some storyline progress. I will definitely say that. I hope you guys had a fantastic weekend overall. A little bit later on in the show, for those of you that are curious, because you know I'm a old school TV fan, yes, I will give my thoughts about the tragic passing of Rob Reiner, actor, director, prolific director, right? Yeah, I mean, my God. I'll talk a lot more about his passing, him and his wife's passing later on during the show and everything. But yeah, for those of you that checked out Saturday night's main event post-show, appreciate you guys that tuned in. Had a lot of fun doing that. It was nice afterwards, just making my rounds, seeing what some of my friends and colleagues in the podcasting world had to say about Saturday night's main event. And, you know, it's interesting. Like I said at the top, it's going to be debatable for many years to come. Should John Cena had went out the way that he did, just as far as losing his match, right? I mean, we all are like universally the way in which Cena tapped out in that. We all are like, there's no dispute about that. That was just tacky how they did that and everything. But man, you know, we spent so much time, and I think a lot of my friends and colleagues had spent so much time just breaking down and just giving first gut reactions to what all had happened in that final match. We kind of put to the side that, this has definitely put Gunther on a whole new other level. And dare I say, it kind of gives you that when Brock Lesnar defeated the streak of the Undertaker vibe. It almost kind of had, something along those lines going on. It almost had one of those. I remember a long, 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 long time ago. I remember when a very young Brock Lesnar had crossed paths with Hulk Hogan and how he destroyed the hell out of him. And just seeing what Gunther had did to John Cena in picking up that win, you're just going, yo, Gunther has definitely arrived. He can ride this if the machine does it right. That WWE machine does it right. They are building something really, really special with this man and everything. I love the fact that we have the video package for John Cena recapping all the festivities from over the weekend. And we opened up the show with Gunther coming out to a chorus of boos from the crowd. At first, they weren't quite letting him speak, and Gunther pretty much kept it short, sweet, and simple, saying, I made John Cena tap out like a little bitch. That pretty much was Gunther's whole. I mean, really, stop and think about that. That pretty much was it in a nutshell. He's kind of jumping out there like, yeah, I did it. And what? I loved it. I mean, what more does the guy need to say? Honestly, you beat John Cena. You did what you said you was gonna set out to do. You didn't just beat John Cena. You made John Cena give up. Like, what more is there to say? So I love how that was set up. I love seeing some of the superstars that were waiting for Gunther in the back, such as Otis, Akira Tozawa, even R-Truth. All of them just kind of popping off at the mouth. Adam Pearce even having a few words. Adam Pearce all up in his feelings, talking about, hey, so you get out there in the ring just to bask in the glory of defeating one of the all-time greats. You really had to go out there and say those things. You really had to rub it in like that. And Gunther's pretty much, yeah, pretty much. It's like, yeah, okay, well, what that essentially made you was an asshole. So far as I'm concerned, you're done for tonight. You can leave. And Gunther's like, yeah, sure. As Gunther is going to his vehicle, he crossed paths with AJ Styles. Gunther wanted to know if there was a problem. AJ kind of, nah, go ahead, do your thing. I wasn't sure if AJ Styles had rigged that damn car. I thought we were about to get a Vince McMahon limo explosion scene there with Gunther getting in his car. I was like, wait for it. But no, Gunther was able to turn the ignition on safely and pretty much drive off without letting AJ Styles know he couldn't see him. I can't help but wonder if WWE is essentially giving us a Easter egg here. Because why else would you have AJ Styles and Gunther just cross paths like that? I really believe in my heart of hearts, and you guys can sound off and let me know what your thought process is when you saw that scene. But I just couldn't help but go, man, is WWE foreshadowing for us? Are they telling us what is to ultimately come for AJ Styles? Is AJ Styles' final match gonna be against Gunther? Because remember, AJ Styles 2026, that's it. AJ Styles is supposed to be retiring. So is Gunther going to have the luxury, the opportunity of retiring another legend? Is Gunther going to be fed another WWE legend? You just can't help but wonder. I mean, because I tell you what, we got us a new legend killer that is running around now, and his name is Gunther. I don't know how you all feel about that. And then you think about the fact of if the reports are true that maybe Chris Jericho is going to be coming to the WWE for one last hoorah and then get inducted into the Hall of Fame, you can't help but wonder if he ultimately may be fed to Gunther. And then you also think about Brock Lesnar. Some interesting reports that's flying around that next year, when it's all said and done, Brock Lesnar could be retiring at some point in the coming year. So a lot of interesting developments going on, and you just can't help but wonder where exactly does that fit Gunther. One thing about that man, though, is the fact of it's Royal Rumble season. I mean, literally, Royal Rumble season is right around the corner. And you would just love to believe that when it's all said and done, he's definitely going to be one of the final four in this year's in 2026 men's Royal Rumble. You'd love to believe that he's going to be one of the final four and everything. Will he be punching his ticket to WrestleMania? I think we'll know in a couple of weeks and everything. We had a returning CM Punk. We had not seen him on WWE programming in a couple of weeks, although we did see him at Saturday night's main event for the John Cena send-off and everything, which was cool. Fired up CM Punk. He did kind of acknowledge the maxed man that pretty much cost him and his Survivor Series War Games team the victory and everything. But he was mainly focused on Braun Breaker, some of the choice words that Braun's been saying the past couple of weeks about him and everything. CM Punk cutting him really good verbally. I actually jotted down a couple of notes because I had to go, wait a minute. CM Punk, here's the thing. The promo that CM Punk had cut tonight, it was pretty good. His rebuttal to Braun Breaker, it was pretty good, but it just kind of felt like he was holding back just a tiny little bit. But I loved it for what it was worth. Probably one of the best lines of the night. CM Punk goes, "If you ever mention my wife's name again, this goes from business to personal faster than you can run, and it won't be about the belt anymore, because I'm going to rip your eyes out of your head and piss on your single-digit brain." God damn, that burns. That burns. I love that. Freaking hilarious. But yeah, CM Punk, he kept that bad boy short, sweet, right to the point. Pretty much was that. Bumps into Rey Mysterio shortly after. Rey Mysterio having a main event match against Logan Paul. Punk lets Ray know, hey, I know the vision. They got their little strength in numbers and everything. If you want me out there, I'll definitely have you back. Ray says, hey, I appreciate the gesture. Yeah, bet. See you out there. So we had that main event match between Logan Paul and Rey Mysterio. Decent main event for what it was worth. Whole lot of moving parts, though, in the form of run-ins. We did see Vision members come out towards the very end there. And I know that CM Punk at one point came out with a chair, and that was pretty much his equalizer as he chased off Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. Meanwhile, Ray, he was continuing the fight there against Logan. Referee somehow gets distracted. The maxed man appears yet again. There's that goddamn maxed man. He pretty much stomps on Ray on the apron. Pretty much had help Logan Paul go up to the top, connect with a splash for the 3-count victory. Afterwards, Logan Paul and this Max individual make eye contact. Logan isn't really quite sure if this guy or woman or whatever's going on under there, if it's a friend or a foe. Then we see CM Punk run down there, assessing everything that's going on. Max Man quickly makes their exit for the nosebleed seat section. And Punk just is infatuated. He wants to know who this maxed individual is, so he is just mouthing off at the bit. Finally, this maxed individual takes his mask off. He reveals himself. Now we know it's definitely a he. Turns out it is none other than, drumroll please, Austin Theory. Austin Theory. So a lot of you guys, we were talking about this mystery person off and on since the War Games post show. A lot of you guys had some interesting names thrown out there, but the one that was most reoccurring was Austin Theory. Many of y'all were very, very high on the idea of it being Austin Theory. And I told you guys, I'm definitely behind that. I think that's a really good one. I said, if not Austin Theory, maybe you can kind of go the Chris Jericho route. So now we know it's Austin Theory. That may feel a little bit flat for some people, but understand something. Really bringing this full circle, right? Giving you guys full context. Austin Theory has been looked highly upon as one of the next big breakout future stars for years. I mean, Triple H definitely had his eye on him. Vince McMahon definitely was on board with that. And it'll be interesting to see how under Triple H, Paul Levesque, it'll be interesting to see if Austin Theory can really rise to the occasion here. This man has been now off TV for just the right amount of time for a rebirth of his character and all that. And we see the way that Theory is pretty much being aligned here, right? Getting a nice rub off here from everybody involved, all the names that we just mentioned and all that. So, will he be able to rise and seize the moment? Time will tell, but I promise you this, if he does not seize the opportunity in time, because this is his biggest test yet, without a doubt, since he's been part of WWE, this is his biggest test yet. And if he does not, I'm not going to say he's going to be given a pink slip, but you can definitely look for maybe some form of a demotion, pretty much going back to NXT and all of that little good stuff. So we'll see what happens in due time. But they're placing him in a really good spot. Of course, now the question becomes, well, why the hell would CM Punk, how? Why? Why does CM Punk have these issues with Austin Theory? What the hell did CM Punk do to Austin Theory to make Austin Theory be all up in his business like that? All right, what's going on here? What's the underlying story to this and everything? I can't wait to see how all of that unravels. And then most importantly, for Austin Theory, I can't wait to see in regards to the vision, because Adam Pearce, he's going to be like, okay, so how exactly does this tie to the vision? And does Paul Heyman and them, did they know this whole time? Have they been kind of orchestrating the way Logan Paul kind of made it seem? Logan Paul, no idea. Is it really sincere though? Or is it just putting on the act? All right. Is the vision maybe going to officially extend an olive branch to Austin Theory to be part of the stable and everything? Right. So many questions. We'll see how it all plays out in the next coming weeks. Love what we got going on there. Definitely need some more serious strength in numbers, though, because just the way that this is all playing out. I mean, right now, we've just got CM Punk pretty much fighting this whole vision thing. We know that LA Knight, as it was revealed on tonight's show, because of the brutal attack that he received at the hands of the Vision last week, LA Knight is out indefinitely. I don't think it's going to take that long. I kind of feel as though we're going to see LA Knight make his return perhaps on that January 6th edition of Monday Night Raw. Or is it January 5th? Let me look at the calendar real quick. January 5th, I apologize, January 5th, 2026, that 1 year anniversary show for Monday Night Raw on Netflix. I have a feeling maybe likely Knight will return there, possibly cost Braun Breaker the championship. But again, still, you got to have those strength and numbers, right? You just got to. So I feel ultimately in my heart of hearts what's going to happen. A Seth Rollins return, and we're finally going to see unlikely allies in CM Punk and Rollins. That's just where I feel ultimately this is going to go. Could I even see Roman Reigns be part of that whole? Yeah, I can kind of see that. Because remember what Roman had last said to Cody Rhodes at War Games? He told him straight up, this is the last time you and me will ever team up. Didn't say that to CM Punk. So, it's very well possible that, we could see maybe Roman kind of come back into the mix and everything. So look at those guys that I just named right there. We got CM Punk. We've got LA Knight, Roman Reigns. And who was the other guy that I just mentioned? We mentioned CM Punk, Roman Reigns, LA Knight, Seth Rollins. Meanwhile, you've got Logan Paul, you've got the Bronze, and now you have freaking Austin Theory, right? So there's kind of like your four guys right there. So kind of works out pretty good there. Some other in-ring action from tonight. Stephanie Vaquer defended her women's championship successfully against Raquel Rodriguez. Pretty good match. I mean, obviously, Raquel Rodriguez, in a position where, remember when we saw her a couple of weeks ago, she crossed paths with Nikki Bella after Nikki Bella came out wanting to get a rematch for the women's championship there. And Raquel pretty much came from behind, beat the crap out of Nikki. I mean, gave her a serious beatdown and everything. So one good cheek of a turn deserves another, however they like to say it. Well, Nikki Bella interfered in Raquel Rodriguez's opportunity. Nikki Bella attacking Stephanie from behind. This pretty much had set up a disqualification. Disqualification in this case, championship does not change hands. So the way this is looking right now, we are very likely to be on course for a triple threat match between these three women. And if you're Liv Morgan and you're watching this from the back on the prompter, you're excited to see this. Because remember, Liv Morgan wanted to go after that women's championship, and yet somehow Raquel was able to jump ahead of her and everything. So you would imagine Liv Morgan is probably looking at this going, excellent, and everything. So, but a good match, probably the shortest match of the entire card for tonight's Monday Night Raw. Clocked in, I think, at about 5 minutes. Did not help that there was a commercial break. I appreciate the fact that when they came back from commercial break, they made sure, like this is how you knew it was going to be a pretty short match. Because when you came back from the commercial break, Raquel Rodriguez was already in the ring. Her music, I don't even think was playing, and they just went right to the introduction. So you just kind of felt right there, yeah, this is going to be one of them short joints. Okay, all right, it is what it is. Elsewhere, Hershey, PA, by the way, y'all did good tonight as a crowd. Y'all did good. Now, I'll tell you a women's match that was pretty good. Almost about the same length of time, if not maybe a little bit longer. The women's Intercontinental Championship match there, as Maxxine Dupri successfully defended against Ivy Now. Man, I am really coming around on Maxxine Dupri, like legit. Oh my God, this this girl has really, really turned a corner for the better. I got to tell you, and I'm here for the ride, man. Her reign as champion continues. Pretty solid match here. What was most surprising though, we didn't see Natalia out there. Thought we would have at least seen Natalia uh maybe chatting with Maxxine in the back saying, "Are you ready? Are you sure you ready?" Maybe smacking her in the face and saying, "Get out there, go get the job done, make it happen." Show me that all this training was worth it. Show me that my time was well invested. Get out there. So, little surprised we didn't see Natty out there and everything, but I would like to imagine that from what we've been seeing with those montages and everything, which if I could just have WWE's ear, I would say y'all got to continue to work those little vignettes between Natty and Dupri. You got to, because what I would love to see next is I would love to see Maxine, maybe in a vignette celebrating over the fact that she successfully defended her championship, and Natty is just like, okay, so cool for you, goody for you. You retained your championship. Bet you're feeling real good right now, huh? But guess what? You don't get the rest that long because there's always another opponent right around the corner. You don't know who it can be. You've got a serious target on your back. The hunt's on and you're the prey. Right? So I would love for it to be a situation where Natty goes, you think the training that I've had you go through the first couple of weeks, you thought that was it. Shit. We're just barely scratching the surface, right? Now the real lessons begin, or something along those lines. And I would love it to be a situation where they kind of rip a page out of the Rocky franchise. And I would just like to see Maxine say, why are you, I never did really ask you this, but I'm just wondering, why did you offer to help me? Like, what's in this for you, or something like that? And Natty can just say, more on that later, right? And what if it turns out Natty is just doing everything that she's doing because she ultimately wants a championship match opportunity, right? I mean, you can make an argument that Natty kind of felt that this woman, right place, right time, a little bit of her teachings, she could definitely, right? But what if Natty's playing a game of chess here and she's a couple of moves ahead, right? It's just kind of something to have in the back of your head. Just kind of make sure you keep that, always hold on to that, because I might be on to something here. Get a replay of Rhea Ripley and Io Sky getting owned as they made their way to the ring. And apparently Asuka, Kari saying they appeared pretty much jumping them. Rhea Ripley got sprayed in the face. Result of this, Rhea Ripley demands to Adam Pearce a match against, is it Asuka? I believe it's against Asuka. So Asuka, Rhea Ripley, they're going to be fighting next week. Also, WWE gave us a plug that season 2 of WWE Unreal is going to be premiering on January 20th on Netflix. So mark that down on your calendars. Jay and Jimmy Uso, first tag match, reunited, feeling oh so good. Yeet! Picking up a victory against the team of Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. A lot of history between those two respected tag teams, especially when you think about all the tag team championships that have been acquired by those two respected teams through the years and everything. It's nice to see the Usos officially back together again after a nice little break. I gotta say, I enjoyed their matches from back in the day. One of my favorite highlights from yesteryear. So to see them back, it's great. I still believe though that WWE is doing a long play style of storytelling here where I feel at this point they're taking us on a ride where ultimately, the Usos are going to get a tag team title opportunity, and it's going to be squandered, meaning they're going to come up short. And I can see this happening a couple of times. Maybe that one time is enough, but if you really want to just put the icing on the cake, I can see something as far as 3 strikes when it's all said and done. And that is just going to make Jey Uso snap and come on over to the dark side. I just feel that this is going to go down in a way where Jey is just going to snap on his brother Jimmy, take him out of the equation, and pretty much the next time you see Jimmy, maybe you might see Jimmy right before WrestleMania and, they fight right then and there, or maybe Jimmy comes back shortly after WrestleMania. But I just got this weird feeling that's the direction we're pretty much heading in. Because if you're not going to be heading in that direction, this sends a really bad message. It really, really does. And what's that message you say? It sends the message of, so we've kind of demoted Jey Uso, right? I don't want to use the word buried. I think that's too strong of a word. I don't even think that's the right word to use in this context. But if you wanted to say, kind of knocking you back a tier, that just kind of, if you're a fan, you're going, how does this make sense exactly? Yeah, the merchandise, he's still selling it and all that, right? Whether he's doing the tag team or he's a solo act, the merchandise is still going to sell regardless. But when you're just looking at the character's placement on the roster, you think about, the storylines and all that involving this guy, and just, so wait, so you couldn't handle the pressure, so you essentially go back to the tag division? That's really? So remember, when Jey was all up in his feelings, it was his brother Jimmy that pretty much initiated contact with him. Yo, what are we going to do about this? I'll tell you what we're going to do about this. We're going to reform the tag team, and we're going to go after tag team gold. Now, Jey is just, getting with the program, just kind of, it's his brother. He don't want to, but I think many of us know how that is when you think about it. Many of us have been in that position before where we're doing something that we kind of really don't want to do. We're kind of already set on our ways, but we're kind of doing this just to make the other person feel better. But this isn't really what we want to do, but we're essentially trying to please them. And when we stop being so concerned with pleasing other people and we be real with ourselves, that's right. So I kind of feel like that's ultimately where we're going to be going with Jey Uso. So I don't believe for 1 minute WWE is just going, yeah, we're going this route with Jey. So that's it. If we're still in the same position with these guys come, let's say, March, April of 2026, and there's been like no hinge drop whatsoever that, okay, yeah, it looks like we're definitely, then it becomes a different conversation that we got to have here. But just have that in the back of y'all's head. Other than that, just thinking if there was some other stuff here. Wow, I think that was it for like all the matches. Let me just go back. Make sure. I'm just looking at my notes here. Yeah. Like Mussolini. Yeah, we talked about that. We talked about Rey Mysterio, Logan Paul. Yeah. This was a pretty short episode now that I'm thinking about it. Because it actually went off at about almost, I think it went off about 20 minutes after 10. Normally we get an episode that goes until, about 10:35 at least. But look, this episode slightly above average. I think the main hook was the fact that Triple H was promising, the beginning of a new era. Well, we didn't get that, at least not yet. But it was an enjoyable episode. But that's about all there was, really. I would say the matches of the night. Just kind of looking at the card one more time. Definitely the match of the night: Maxxine Dupri and Ivy Now. And the tag match was actually pretty good between Usos and New Day. I would say that was good as well. Other than that, hey, great seeing Punk back. Mystery Man revealed. You made some progress right there, right? But seems like WWE is kind of doing a little something as they get ready to go into the holidays and all that. I'm very curious to see what's going to happen after next week's Raw, the following Raw. Like if that's going to be a recap joint of the best of 2025. Are they going to just phone it in? Are they maybe going to do some type of a double taping and that respected week's Raw, since it's pre-taped, I'm curious how they're going to be setting it up. Let's go to the polls, see what you guys had to say about tonight's WWE Raw. If you want to vote, you got the Twitter. Hop on over there at the RCWR show. By the way, CM Punk saying, even with Steiner math, GTS equals 1, 2, 3. Love that. I popped so hard on that one. See what you guys had to say. Two options, keeping it plain and simple. Thumbs up, thumbs down. 33% of you are giving this week a thumbs up. Meanwhile, 67% of you are giving the show a thumbs down. Appreciate you guys that have sound off. Cast your vote. Speaking of polling results, too, by the way, there was a couple of polls that I put out over on YouTube, youtube.com/the RCWR show. And I appreciate you guys that had voted, man. I see that, for instance, when it was made official that Gunther would face John Cena in his final WWE match, I was just curious, like, how many of you all were like, yo, it should be LA Knight, or yo, Gunther. Oh, yeah, okay, I'm definitely down with that. And Gunther got the slight edge over LA Knight. The breakdown for that was 18% went Gunther. LA Knight got 16% of the vote. I don't think there's any denying. I truly believe that WWE, for those of you that are a little bit concerned about LA Knight, don't be, his position in the company. I really believe in my heart of hearts, Triple H, Paul Levesque, and crew, they know what they got on their hands in regards to LA Knight. And trust me, I think the guy, he's going to be okay. Not just his placement in the company, but as far as constantly being in that, Intercontinental Championship picture, main event picture, World Championship picture, I think his time's gonna come. If we're here 2 years from now and LA Knight, by that point, hasn't even got a world championship, I can't help but go, so what all is going on? What other elements is happening? Why is Knight continuing to take a backseat here? What exactly is going on? That would be my main question. And then I know from a couple of weeks ago, I had asked you guys in regards to the Chris Jericho rumors, where do you guys see him landing come the end of December, basically. And here's where things stand right now. We had almost 50 votes. So I am seeing 4% of you all felt he's going to start up his own promotion. Meanwhile, 6% of you felt he was going to be hitting to TNA. Maybe some of you guys had chose that because you were thinking about the whole TV deal, and who knows. 13% of you said he's going back to AEW. And meanwhile, 77% of you felt that there's no doubt about it, he's going to be heading back to the WWE. Now, in regards to Chris Jericho and all that, and Tony Khan's he ain't saying jack. I mean, this dude is not revealing anything. At this point, if a Chris Jericho is going to be returning to the WWE, I don't see Jericho returning in December. At this point, you got the Royal Rumble right around the corner. I see Jericho returning at the Rumble. That's where everything begins. Why not? You got to go for the moments. In the last couple of years, the Royal Rumble, not really that many cool surprises and everything. Just picture that. You're doing the countdown, 3, 2, 1. And, and the next thing you know, you hear that classic, the beginning of Jericho's theme. It's the best way to have that guy come back. Yeah, if everything lines itself up right and Jericho ends up coming back to the WWE. Appreciate all you guys that had cast your votes for those respective polls. Means a lot. On a bit of a serious note. I said serious, and yet my tablet thought I was saying SIRI. No. But on a more important note, because I do want to get serious for a minute, and that is I want to offer my thoughts, my prayers, condolences, but also resolution. I'm praying for resolution. However that may come, I'm hoping for resolution for the friends, family, colleagues, for everybody in Hollywood affected by the deaths of actor, director Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle Singer Reiner. I got to tell you, I was kicking back Sunday night, and I'm trying to. I was working on a sociology paper. I was actually writing a critical analysis of Mary Otto's book Teeth. It is a great read. It basically looks at how when you think about the socioeconomic status, when you think about the fundamental cause theory, when you look at upstream, downstream factors and everything, Mary Otto's book did a fantastic job in pulling up certain scenarios all around oral health care, and basically tackling how it's not really being treated as seriously compared to overall healthcare and everything. Like, definitely some similarities, but they diverge as well and everything. So I'm working on this paper. And next thing you know, my God, at this point, it must have been about maybe, I would say almost 10:30 at night. I think it was. And me and the wifey were just loosely conversating here and there, but I'm mostly just quiet. I'm working on my paper. And she goes, "Holy shit." I go, that bad, huh? And she goes, yeah. I'm like, So I'm continuing to work on the paper, and she lets out another shit. And I'm going, is that bad? She's like, yeah, I can't believe it. And I said to her, well, if that's the case, cross-reference online and circle back to me. And she goes, yeah, I'm doing that. I'm doing that. I'm like, okay. Because usually she spends a lot of her time on Facebook, and you got to be careful on Facebook because there's a whole bunch of fake stories generated by AI that's running around and all that. And so after about 5 minutes, she goes, yeah, baby, this is legit. Apparently Rob Reiner is dead. I'm like, huh? I'm like, that doesn't make sense. I'm like, I say, oh, well, babe, he's getting up there in age anyway. So, like, what do you think's going to happen? She's like, no, babe. This guy was killed. Huh? It's like, yeah, Rob Reiner was killed, him and his wife. I'm like, no. And so, first thing I do, I go on Rob Reiner's Wikipedia page. I should know better by now. But no, like, that's the first thing I do. Because, like, normally Wikipedia, like, whoever the webmasters are and all that for certain people's pages, they are like quick to just update when somebody's dead. I still see that Rob Reiner's alive. I'm going, okay, nothing there. I go online. I'm looking at the Associated Press. I'm trying to see what they're saying. And all they're saying is there was an incident at Rob Reiner's home that 2 people were found dead. I'm going, okay, well, and I say to the wife, I'm like, here, this is what I'm seeing. And then I'm cross-referencing for like the next 10 minutes. I'm hitting up all the respected news outlets online. I'm just bouncing all over the place. And then I see one report that says a 78-year-old man was found dead and a 68-year-old woman was found dead. And I say, babe, how old is Rob Reiner? She goes, I don't know. I'm like, okay, look that up real quick. It's like, I'm gonna try to see how old his wife is. And we both said at the same time, Rob's 78. And then I said, shit, like this, that's Rob. And then they're like, okay, unidentified woman, 68, found dead. Like, and then I find out Michelle Singer, find out her age. I'm like, oh man, this is them. And so then I'm wondering, like, the first initial thought in my head is, okay, so did one person snap on the other? Like, is this a Phil Hartman kind of situation almost, or what? 'Cause if you don't know, like Phil Hartman, like great comedian back in the day, and his woman mentally very, very disturbed. She ended up killing Phil and taking her own life and everything. So I say to the wife, I say, well, my God, is this a case where one spouse killed the other? Like, do you think maybe this is what happened here? And she's like, I don't think so. I really don't. Like, I think something else was at play here. I'm like, okay. So she goes off to bed. I'm watching the news report. And at this point, trying to just, get as much information as possible. And I don't think it was really not until maybe close to midnight or a little bit after midnight that, and again, it's still all in real time for me. Then I find out that apparently the Reiner's daughter, she was the one that had discovered their bodies. And that is so heartbreaking. And then I start hearing the rumblings that one of their sons was potentially the killer. And now it's just, wait, huh? How does this make any sense? Like, because it doesn't. And sure enough, we go into, much later. I even remember browsing online this morning as early as maybe 9, maybe 10 o'clock in the morning. And the last thing that I heard was there was a person of interest, but that no arrest had been made. And then just amazing how that morphed from the morning to several hours later, where now it looks like one of his sons is in custody. And I'm not even interested in saying the name of this son of theirs, because I don't want to give him any press, and right, I just refuse. But apparently, more details have emerged as the Reiners, along with this son in question, they went to a party, a holiday party, that apparently comedian and longtime talk show host Conan O'Brien holds. You know, he holds this holiday party at his home every single year, and the Reiners decided that they were going to go. Now, the son ended up going with them, okay? And apparently there was a huge, huge fight. Far as I can tell right now, it's being described as a verbal fight, not a physical fight. At least at the time of this recording, but it was very ugly what was going down with the Reiners. And Michelle and Rob, they just decided to make their exit. So they abruptly left the party. Whether or not this son followed right with them or he left a couple of hours later, who knows? One thing that is for certain is handful of hours later, these two end up dead. And this son in question has been struggling with substance abuse for many, many, many years, since he was a teenager. And he has been in and out of rehab. To say that he had a tumultuous, turbulent relationship with Rob Reiner would be a understatement. There was a movie of some type that this son wrote a screenplay for, and Rob Reiner directed it. I think it was about 10 years ago. The name of it escapes me right now, but basically it kind of chronicled the life of this son and trying to be accepted by his father, and the strained relationship, you know, going on between the two and everything. So heartache, man, heartache. When I think about Rob Reiner, I mean, obviously one of the first things that come to my head as an old school fan of classic TV shows and everything. I mean, hell, I'm a product child of the 80s. So when I was a child growing up in the 80s, I essentially inherited the shows that my mom and dad grew up on from the 70s. And at the same time, I inherited shows that my grandparents grew up on from potentially the 40s, 50s, 60s, and all that. And so I'm just a big old sponge when it comes to retro TV. All in the Family. Oh my God, what a great cast. Sally Struthers, Gene Stapleton, Carol O'Connor, Rob Reiner. I mean, they were so phenomenal on that show. If you ever want to get me talking about All in the Family, whether you want to ask me what's my favorite episode or what was my favorite best special guest, I've got so many fond memories of that show. Um, I could be just talking to you about it all night. And I'm one of those hardcore All in the Family fans that will tell you, yo, that show had no business going on for an additional 2 or 3 seasons after Mike and Gloria left for California. No, you know, that should have been it. When they left for California, that should have been the end of the series. And not for nothing, Norman Lear, he was ready to, but Carol Connor was like, yeah, we can keep it going. We should keep it going. Let's keep it going. And Norman's like, oh, okay. All right, let's go ahead. Let's keep it going. Archie Bunker's place, you got to have a unique taste for that. You really, really do. It's kind of sick when I think about this. But do y'all remember the episode of All in the Family where Rob Reiner's character Michael comes home and Gene Stapleton's Edith Bunker, she's like, "Oh, hey, Michael, where's and this was around when Edith had befriended a cross dresser. The guy was a cross dresser, but he was gay, and I can't remember the character's name, but this actor appeared on the show, I think, three times. Three times on All in the Family, this character had appeared. And basically, if I remember the story right, Michael and the crossdresser friend, they went to go get a bite to eat somewhere. And I don't know if they decided to take a shortcut through an alley or what, but they ended up getting jumped. And Edith's friend that was with Michael ended up getting stabbed to death. Michael was kind of, recapping what happened to Edith and everything. And Edith was just, so heartbroken that she lost her friend and everything. To just think about that, and just, wow, now fast forward all these years and just, wow, for how the Reiners, how their lives were essentially taken, allegedly, with the information that's out there right now. Rob Reiner, I grew up on this man's work, and if you happen to be around my age or close to it, for me, I essentially grew up on 40 years of this man's work. 40 years. So I grew up watching this guy in front of the camera, and he played the role of Michael Stivic so damn well. I always tell people, like, you see all this crap that's going on in our country right now, politics and all of that, and you can watch an episode of All in the Family, and it feels like something that, wow, this feels so damn current. Like, I swear they're talking about what's currently happening today. And Rob Reiner played Michael Stivic so beautifully. And at the core, the main reason why is because a lot of those fundamental beliefs in that character, Rob Reiner believed in. Hey, equal rights for everybody. Hey, don't be discriminating to this person and this person because of their sexual orientation or their religious beliefs, or the color of their skin, All in the Family, if you never watched an episode, it truly, truly, truly was very groundbreaking and revolutionary for its time. It really, really was. But then for Robin, and let's not forget who Rob Reiner's father was. Rob Reiner's father was Carl Reiner. And Carl Reiner, my God, an impressive resume, in his own right as an actor, as a writer, as a director, so Rob, kind of had some big shoes to fill, but he did phenomenal. As once in a while you got to see him as an actor, but his real love was behind the camera. This is the same man that gave us This Is Spinal Tap. The man just got done writing, directing, producing the sequel to Spinal Tap. I don't know if it's come out yet. I should have checked on that right before I came on the air. One of my all-time favorite movies, Stand By Me, with such a phenomenal cast in Jerry O'Connor, River Phoenix, Will Wheaton, my God, a young Kiefer Sutherland, based off of a novel by Stephen King. And Stephen King has gone on record many, many times and said, of all the movies that's been an adaptation from one of my novels, Rob Reiner nailed it. And Rob Reiner, he took that to heart. He really did, because that's a huge compliment to get from Stephen King. Stephen King pretty much calls it how he sees it and everything. Another one of my all-time favorite movies, comedy, The Princess's Bride. When Harry met Sally, was that Meg Ryan and Billy Crystal? Love that freaking movie. And then, if you're talking another dramatic, A Few Good Men with Demi Moore, Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson. I mean, and shout out to Rick. He's saying apparently Spinal Tap 2, it's on HBO Max. He really did give us so many great moments of entertainment. And the one common thread in all of these projects that I'm naming, not just emotional context, but just character. The way he's able to just flush out the character and how easy it is for you to connect with those characters on a personal level. All of those movies that I just named to you, I mean, the characters that you see, you're able to connect to them so easily, on so many levels and everything. Let me say this. It's rare that I talk politics, and for very good reason. But let me tell you something, man. I know Reiner was not a fan of our current president and the administration. I know he was very, very outspoken. Very outspoken. And that's what makes this country of ours so beautiful, is the freedom of speech. Hey, I may not agree with a lot of the things that you're saying, but you know what? At the end of the day, that's your right. You have that right to speak your truth, speak how you feel without punishment. And Rob Reiner was one of those type of people. You'll learn if you've made your rounds, checking out interviews and all that the past couple of days. He was one of those type of people. He wore his heart on his sleeve. He would be unapologetic, and he would tell you how he feels. And politics was definitely something that he was very, very passionate about. Said some unpopular things about the president, but it was his opinion. This president, well aware of the things that Reiner said about him through the years. And for this president to put the type of statement out that he did, disappointed. I'm really, really, really disappointed. If there was ever a time where, and before anybody asks, like, Lee, doesn't this president have like a PR person? Doesn't this president have, why is this president shooting himself in the foot like this? Why is he like, why can't he just stick to the script and say such a tragedy, so sad? I'm sure as we learn more information, and no, you should know by now. You should know better. The way that this particular president operates, if he feels that he was crossed, if he was wronged in any type of way, payback is a dog. And any opportunity that he has to lash out, no matter how ludicrous, how outrageous it may sound, The statement that this president put out today, I'll be honest, it made me feel sad to be an American. It really, really did. And to the people that are, and I can't believe I'm actually getting ready to say this, but to the people that actually defended what the president had to say, you are what's part of the problem in this world. It's why we can't have the type of conversations like we used to be able to back in the day, where if we disagreed with one another, we would sit down and we'd have a meeting of the minds and we would try to meet each other halfway. But worst case scenario, if we couldn't, we walked away going, well, at least we had a really good conversation with that person. It was a nice, healthy debate. And, hey, I don't hate them. They don't hate me. Hey, we agree to disagree. And, hey, we're going to go get a bite to eat afterwards. Gone are those days. Very unfortunate. It really is. But again, my heart, my thoughts, my prayers go out to the family, friends, colleagues, everybody in Hollywood in regards to Rob Reiner. This was a guy right on up to his death. It wasn't like some people, once they get into their 60s, 70s, they just fade off into the sunset and, never again. This guy, Rob Reiner, whether he was doing something in front of the camera or he was doing something behind the camera, this guy was busy right on up until his death. And last piece of work that he put out was the Spinal Tap sequel. So rest in peace. And, it's a friendly reminder of, making sure you're checking in on those loved ones, especially those that are dealing with some form of substance abuse, and making sure that they are continuing to get that ongoing help that they need, making sure that as far as any type of psychiatric help that they may need, that, they are getting that and then some. And look, in the coming days, we may come to learn that Rob Reiner and crew, that's exactly what they were giving. And right, it's ridiculous. And it sucks too, because it happened right as we're getting ready to go into Christmas. Something else, a little bit of a lighter note, but definitely a little bit on a somber note. Here in Sanders' household, we had lost a close friend of the family. I didn't personally know him, but I knew a lot of his work. And it was so funny because when I had decided that I wanted to pursue a degree in journalism, my girl said to me, now more than ever, you should start talking to him. And I told her, I said, no. Because she even said, oh, he could put in a word for you and you could start working that. And I said, no. It's like, I don't want to do it like that. It's like, I want to earn it. It's like, nah, I'm good. But I want to give a shout out to the friends, family, and colleagues of Maurice Javins. Here in D.C., he was a longtime stage manager for NBC4, WRC TV, Washington, D.C., their headquarters just off of Nebraska Avenue. And if you ever watch the 5, 6, or 11 o'clock news out here, the longest time we had the team of anchors, Jim Vance and Doreen Gensler and Maurice Javins, Mo, as he was called. He was their station manager. He'd be operating the cameras and counting them down and telling them what all they needed, helping them out with their scripts and all of that stuff, teleprompters, everything. Jack of all trades. He made sure that once those cameras went live, they were as smooth as butter, those anchors. He passed away last week after losing a short battle. And it was a very short battle, thank God, to cancer. It turns out he had kidney cancer, prostate cancer, and he had there's one other cancer in the spine. Believe it or not, cancer in the spine. Family's a little rough. It's a little rough here. We've been doing everything in our power to check in on my mother-in-law, because my mother-in-law and him, they had been together for a very long time. And so, we've been making sure that she's been all right and she has everything that she needs. And, she's taking it one day at a time. She seems to be in better spirits. We just found out when the funeral is going to be. And, once I was told that, I said, well, forget about it. Like, without a doubt, I'm definitely going to be there. So, but, it was nice over the weekend. It was me, my wife, and my mother-in-law. We're kicking back. We're doing some random things around the house, doing a little straightening up, and we're hooking up the Christmas tree a little bit more, rearranging some furniture and all that. And we're all just catching up, chatting with one another. And, and my wife kind of pulled me to the side at one point over the weekend while we were out running our errands. And she was like, hey. I said, yeah. She's like, come here. I'm like, what? She gave me a kiss and she said, thank you for being so kind to my mother these past several days. I said, you don't have to thank me. Like, it's just automatic, And she was like, I know. She's like, but just had to say that. I'm like, it's like, well, I appreciate you. Thank you. I love you. And I'm just finding as I get older, just those little things, especially as far as like tomorrow is not promised to anyone. You just want to hug that person that you love and care about extra tight. And, that's what you need to do now more than ever, especially during this holiday season. Don't mind me. I'm just being a little reflective and everything. But yeah, man, it always sucks when you have a death that occurs right before the holidays, right? Because you're in the holiday spirit and, you're trying to, but then you get hit with such a heavy load. And then you're trying to figure out how to best navigate that and everything. It ain't easy, I'll tell you that. It's definitely not easy. So originally, we were going to do a long format show. But I tell you what, tomorrow, unfortunately, is it already tomorrow? Not just yet. Won't be for about 15 minutes. I have a in-person exam I have to take for my government class. I am not looking forward to that. On a good note, though, I don't have to take it until way later in the afternoon. So I actually get to have myself a good night's rest. And then I get to just study, and do my best to be ready for it. I've spent so much time working on other papers. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I never found the time to study in the days prior. So between tonight and tomorrow, at least first half of the day, I will have my head crammed into the tablet studying. So keep your fingers crossed for me, because I'm hoping I can score at least, it's an exam worth 100 points. So basically, if I can score, now I obviously don't want to score this low, but if I can get at least 3 points out of that 100, basically for the overall government class, I'll pass. But if I want to keep the grade that I have right now, which right now I think I'm in the B minus to C plus range. If I want to keep that, I got to get at least a 50 out of 100, if not higher. So keep your fingers crossed for that one. Just trying to see if there's some new information that's going on. By the way, we were spending all that time talking about Rob Reiner. I will say this as it ties back to wrestling and everything. If you have not seen what legendary hardcore wrestler, WWE Hall of Famer Mick Foley had to say in regards to the president's comments and just the whole situation there with the Reiners, go out of your way and check out what Mick Foley had to say. I always love when Mick Foley jumps out there and randomly just talks about things, particularly outside the world of wrestling. Because there's more, sometimes it just happens. There's bigger, important things that need to be talked about rather than, hey, this leg suplex and, all this other good stuff. Now, I do want to give a shout out before we get ready to wrap things up here. I was mentioning the exams and all that because I had said last week we were going to return to our long form format for the shows on Monday nights where we're bouncing more all over the place. But since I got that Tuesday afternoon exam, we're going to end things a little bit short here. So hope you guys understand. But we will be doing a bonus show for you guys later on in the week. I want to give a shout out to our sponsor. Shout out to iwanttolearnsql.com, your hands-on gateway to mastering SQL, whether you're starting from scratch or upgrading your data skills. I want to learn SQL.com, put structured lessons, real-world exercises, and clear explanations at your fingertips. Learn more by visiting iwanttolearnsql.com. The RCWR show with Lee Sanders is also brought to you in part by Katrina Spiritual Counseling at katrinasspiritualcounseling.com. There's 2 S's in there now. Katrina offers tarot and psychic love readings by phone or chat, backed by over 20 years experience, so my girl knows her stuff. Her sessions provide straightforward, no sugarcoating, insight into past, present, future relationships, questions. Maybe you're thinking about that job, thinking about those finances in the house and all that. She can help you out with that. She also has seasonal items available, such as candles, honey jars, and return lover kits. They are available with same-day shipping. Good while supplies last. Check her out at katrinasspiritualcounseling.com or give her a call at 877-275-7562. Once again, that number is 877-275-7562. So at this point, your next edition of the RCWR show with Lee Sanders, I'm thinking I would say there's going to be a bonus show this week. I don't think so. Because there's a couple of essay exams that I have to turn in. I just finished doing one, but I haven't uploaded it to Grammarly to kind of fine tune it a little bit more. But once that's officially knocked out the way, I then have, I believe, one more essay exam I have to do. And somewhere sandwiched in there, there's a government in-person exam, and then I have a online grammar exam. So I'm not going to say you're going to get a bonus RCWR show this week, but this weekend you will get an episode of Wrestling with the Topics hosted by me and the missus. I know she definitely wants to sound off on a couple of things. One definitely being her thoughts about Rob Reiner's passing and everything. And so, yeah, we'll definitely be doing that show. But in the meantime, I want you all to be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads, wherever you get your podcasts. Just search the RCWR show. You can also get at me on social media. Use the same keywords, the RCWR show. For you VR gamers out there, I actually took the liberty over the weekend to finally put on my MetaQuest 3S headset on. And I began to play the first couple of minutes of the new Batman VR game. I got to tell you, I got nauseated like a motherfucker. I don't know how you guys do it. I got nauseated like a motherfucker. And I ended up just going, yeah, I'm good. And I put the headset down. And I didn't even tell my family about it, but I know they saw me because they taking turns visiting me, and they were like, "Oh man, so you finally picked up the headset?" I said, "Yeah." They're like, "How was it?" Like, it was something. Oh, cool. And I'm thinking to myself, no, no, not fucking cool. It's like not fucking cool. When you're about to let me set this up properly before we get ready to dip out. It's not even long-winded. So like I boot up the damn game. I probably played about, I would say, 15 minutes and then I just bailed out, right? So apparently I started off as a thug in some roach infested apartment, and I climb out of this window, and they're giving me the prompts as far as how to crouch, all that other good stuff. And I have to end up climbing a ladder. And so, I got the headset on and I'm like, how do I climb this ladder? Can't I just use my trigger guns and just point it and just, oh no, they literally wanted me to walk over to the ladder and actually and they wanted me to grab the motherfucker. That's what they wanted me to do. And it took me like about 5 minutes to realize what exactly they wanted me to do. So once I figured that out and I start climbing the ladder, I mean, I am getting legit woozy as this is all going down, legit woozy. And if you see me throwing up the hand, I'm trying to, yep, I figured it out. So I'm doing that. I'm climbing the ladder and I'm feeling woozy as fuck. Like at one point, I actually am looking to the side as I'm climbing. I'm looking down and I feel myself legit like I'm about to barf. Climb to the top of this roof. I see the bat symbol. I'm going, oh, cool. Apparently, they want me to light a match and set up basically they want me to set the bat symbol on fire. All right. Molotov cocktail, right? They want me to, all right. They want me to do all that. My ass gets shot up. Luckily, rubber bullets. Commissioner Gordon comes and he's like, hey, we got to do this by the book, blah, 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 blah. Next thing I know, I'm Batman. So apparently that's it for that guy. Now I'm Batman. And what happened when I was Batman? I'm trying to think. So when I was Batman, I had to open up some door. And then a thug saw me and said, oh, shit, it's the Batman. He goes running. I try to chase after him. I go through one door. The next door is locked. And Alfred is saying to me, you're going to have to try to find another way in. Let me give you the schematics. I ended up climbing a ladder and I had to stop. I was about to puke. Man. I had to stop after that. So I don't know how you guys are doing it with those VR headsets, but Jesus. And for those of you, did you eat on a full stomach? Like, did you make sure that before you played, you were, yeah, I had dinner. I waited about an hour, let my food digest it. Then I put the headset on and I start. I don't think I'm going to do that again. I really don't. Not unless there's some type of tip or trick or whatever. I felt bad because I had got that for Christmas last year, and it's pretty much been collecting dust the entire time. And so I figured while I had a little bit of downtime, well, let me go on ahead and, try this so I can say that I played it and all that other good stuff. Um, yeah, yeah, I'll have to do some more research, try to see what the tips and tricks is so I don't get like that freaking nauseous and everything. But yeah, man, FYI, I'll give you guys another update. I have a feeling once I've done my research, try to see if there's any tips and tricks. I may take one more crack at it. I'll be honest with you guys on that one as well. But I gotta tell you, anytime I feel like I'm about to just lay out on the floor, that's not good. That's not good at all, man. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get out here. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I tried to give you guys as much of content as possible. I tried to stretch it out as best as I could. So right now we got about an hour, 25 minutes of a show. So hopefully you appreciate it for what it's worth, right? We'll make it up, give you guys something later this weekend. New edition of Wrestling with the Topics. Hey, if you haven't already, make sure you hit up the YouTube channel, youtube.com/the RCWR show, and subscribe, all that good jazz. Give this same episode over there a like. It really helps a ton. Put more eyeballs on the content. If you're checking this out via Twitter, X, if you haven't given me a follow yet, ask yourself something. Why is that? Follow me on the Twitter already. Say a hello, all that good stuff. Love hearing from you guys. Until next go round, wishing all y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I'll see you guys next go round. Take care.